On this edition of Viewfinder, we will meet a man with the ability to make a director's vision glide steadily through space. Nikk Sutton is up now. Nikk Sutton is a master Steadicam operator with the ability and experience to bring cinematic vision to life. This man literally puts the movement in the motion pictures, and we are glad to have him on this edition of Viewfinder. How you doing, player?
Good, very good.
You like that?
That was. I couldn't say it any better.
There you go. There you go. Well, let's start off at the beginning. Where were you born?
I was born here in Cincinnati.
What part?
Could not tell you. No, I was born at Jewish Hospital. Mm-hmm. Then from there, we family moved to Hamilton.
Okay, and you grew up in Hamilton?
Yes.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to school at Hamilton High, class of '92.
You're still a young man. I can smell the milk coming off your breath from over here. Get out of here. So let me ask you this. What was it like growing up in the Sutton household?
It was difficult, just because the fact that every person, my cousins, aunts, uncles, were very successful. I have one that worked at GE and that was head of the aeronautics program.
Wow.
There. Another that was architect who has government contracts in D.C.
Wow.
And
so how was this difficult?
Difficult. It's like I had all these different role models around me, and I didn't want to let them down whatsoever.
Got you. Got you.
So the plateau was already set for me.
So you got people doing aeronautic work and all this other stuff, and you say, I want to work in motion picture.
Actually, how it happened, it was complete by accident. Complete accident. I went to Miami as a music major in percussion. After I graduated from there, about 2 years later, I went to school in the Ohio Center for Broadcasting, where I had both radio and television on it. Went to the radio aspect of it, and from there, I kind of tapped out. But when it came to the video aspect of it, especially with camera, it's like it was second nature. I fell in love with it. And from there, found out that from my grandfather and his father had some work with cinematography just back then. So
wow,
it seems like it came to fruition to me. And
your grandfather and
his father
actually worked at cinematography. Wow, what were they, the Lincoln Brothers?
Oh,
or was it the Noble Brothers? Who started Lincoln Films?
You're killing me.
I know, man. I know. That's fantastic. So I mean, this had to be what, back in the 30s, 40s?
Yeah.
And they were working in cinematography back then. Two brothers.
Yep.
Are they from here?
No, they're from Georgia.
Okay.
One stayed in Georgia. The other one went to California.
Wow. That's fantastic. So it was kind of in your genes, but you didn't know it until you started pursuing the path with the Ohio Center for Broadcasting.
Right.
That's fantastic. Now, why Steadicam? Because that's what you chose. I mean, because you can do anything, right? You know what to do with a camera. You can set it up on a tripod and do it. You can do it handheld. You know what to do on a crane with a camera. But you specialize in Steadicam. Number one, tell people what Steadicam is and why you chose that particular path in terms of how you're going to contribute to a director's vision.
Well, with Steadicam itself, it's a camera stabilizer invented by Garrett Brown. He's a cinematographer, but he didn't like the cinema verite look when you wanted to get a certain point of view. He wanted it as smooth as possible.
He didn't like the look that came out of the French New Wave, handheld, and a lot of stuff like that, because the cameras were so mobile. He wanted it smoother.
Right.
Interesting.
And
you really need it like on a longer lens too, because I mean, you can't. It's hard to do cinema verite with a long lens.
Right. So you want to get it as wide as possible.
Right.
But within this style of shooting, it's like even watching it before I even knew what it was, it's like I want to be that guy.
Was there any particular sequence or film that you remember seeing it and saying?
Rocky was one. Definitely The Shining.
Oh, yeah.
That was Garrett Brown's first debut of the Steadicam. Well, actually, the first one was Bound for Glory with David Carradine.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the first Steadicam shot. Then it came to fruition with The Shining, just one continuous shot.
Yeah, yeah.
From there, other greats, the Goodfellas.
Yeah. Coming through the restaurant. And
Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
And go on and on. And this one that hasn't been done since, it's this Russian director. It's called Russian Ark, which is essentially 88 minutes, nonstop, one take, 20,000 extras. I mean,
Wow.
20,000 actors,
Wow.
one take, one shot.
Wow. Now, the problem with shots like that, though, if something goes wrong, usually you have to go back and reset it.
Right.
Because it took Marty a few tries to get that Goodfellas shot down through the kitchen, because everything has to be orchestrated.
Exactly.
I remember Janet Jackson's When I Think of You video, which used a lot of that, because Julian Temple, he was the king of that. He brought a lot of that into fruition. So it's when you hear that a director wants to do that kind of long, continuous take, what goes through your mind?
Orchestrating everything
Yes.
to its minute atom. Basically, it's a dance between myself,
Yes.
the boom operator,
Yes.
and the actors. Make sure they hit their points correctly.
Now, see, that's very profound what you said, between yourself, the boom operator, and the actors. So all of those three have to be choreographed together, because it's easy for a boom to dip in if he doesn't know where the camera's going. You have to understand, he has to understand where your frame is. Oh. Well, let's look at an example of some of your work, man, so people can kind of get a feel for it.
Okay.
Now, I noticed something with your work that's interesting. Sometimes you use the Steadicam for the camera to actually move in the track, and sometimes it's just stationary and it has a little life to it. But you know, some directors, I guess, have asked would rather use you in lieu of a tripod.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yeah. For the simple fact with that, with tripod, it's just so static itself. So
Right.
it's just stagnant. With the rig itself, that's what called Steadicam is the rig.
Right.
With that, you get this organic feel to it that it's not exactly static, but there is some movement to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of saw a lot of that in that Superman trailer that everybody was nuts about. It had, you know, everybody said, oh, that's handheld. I'm like, no, it's a little too smooth to be handheld. Right. I think they mix it up, but that's a very interesting technique. Well, set up this first clip. What are we going to see?
Well, the first clips we're seeing is some commercials I did. One for Miami University, another one for Hudipole. Then following that is a trailer I did for a movie called For Today.
Now, is that in this first clip, or is the trailer in the second clip?
The trailer's in the first clip.
Okay, the trailer's in the first clip. All right, let's check it out.
Where will life's journey take you? Maybe you've always known, or maybe you'll find out one day when you find yourself exactly where you should be. But how do you reach your future? At Miami University, we can help you find your way. We know the journey to your future is as important as the future itself. We'll provide the opportunities so you can find your way. Then, odds are, you'll be ready to lead the way. Miami University, Oxford, Ohio, the most important stop on your road to life.
Hudy Delight and Hudy 14K presents Show Your Hudy.
If you love Cincinnati like I do, then you'll be proud to show your Hudy. You can show it with a towel. Or you can show it by keeping your can cold. Or you can show it like this. I want to see your Hudy live and in person. Go to showyourhudy.com to find out where I'll be.
Nice, nice.
Thank you.
Now, let's talk about the rig, because I'm going to mention a director at the end of the show who talked about choreography, like you said. But another director that I greatly admire, I know you greatly admire, it was funny, he said, James Cameron said, you know, I do everything, I can do anything, but I don't mess with Steadicam. Isn't that something? That's James Cameron. He says, you know, I have such respect for what a good Steadicam operator can do and that whole community that I don't mess with that. So, you know, that speaks to how specialized the field it is. If you can get James Cameron to go, hey, listen, you got to get somebody else for that. Let's talk about the physical demands of being a Steadicam operator, because I don't think a lot of people know about that. Because you have to position your body in a certain way, carry your body in a certain way. Let's talk about the rig versus how you have to work physically to pull off some shots.
Okay. Well, with the rig itself, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 major parts. You have the upper sled where the camera sits. You have the lower sled where the batteries and the monitor is. You have an ISO articulating arm that connects the sled and the upper posts and lower posts together. Then you have the vest that connects everything together. And within that, not only getting the rig together, is also understanding physics, balance, counterbalance, inertia, bringing the center of gravity that's inside of the camera out so you can manipulate it how you want. Physically, you have to be fit, ready, and more mentally prepared for what you're about to partake. I know for myself, I've been a cinematographer now for 14 years, and it took me a good year to master it on it. Not only because of the weight that's involved, but as I said before, mentally getting yourself ready for it.
Now, what mentally do you have to prepare for?
If the camera that I'm using is lighter or heavier, I have to get my mind set to it. And that the lighter the camera is, the less center of balance I have. So, and I tell everyone, what's easier to balance, a 2-inch pencil or an 8-foot 2x4? The more mass I have, the easier it is on me. The smaller it is, the harder it is on me. The overall preparation for it, stretch. Absolutely stretch. Try not to eat too much before you put the vest on, because that is a whole other ball of wax. But knowing how to position yourself, body language, stance, lower your center of gravity, and glide with it. Don't force it, just move it sonorously and just motionally, almost like, very similar to Tai Chi. You slightly move forward, it'll go forward. You slightly move back, it'll go back, left and right. So just positioning.
Wow. And it's very much a feel thing and a touch thing. That's fantastic, man. Let's talk about the, sometimes you have to have a focus puller, right? So you have somebody sometimes on a remote focus puller, and so they have to be in concert with you, right?
That's another.
Yeah. And then another thing is you have to really be conscious of what lenses you're using. Because it's probably easier for you on a wide because you don't have to be so conscious of focus. But the problem is you have to really watch your frame because you don't want a boom to dip in. But the longer the lens goes, the more of a challenge isn't it? Yeah.
For the simple fact is, since everything is pushed in more, any movement is magnified 10 to 20 times. So within using a longer lens, I have to be more cautious on my movements itself to make sure they're not as dynamic as it would if it was on a wider lens.
What's the longest lens you've ever had to work with?
Longest I've ever worked with was a 110.
You were working with a 110 on a Steadicam?
And that was just a very slow push.
Wow.
Very slow push.
Wow. Yeah, it had to be. Wow. That's a long lens. I would have loved to have been on the set for that day.
Oh, I was a nervous wreck.
Oh, I can believe it. I can believe it. And people don't understand the pressure because, I mean, it's all on you. You're the dancer in the middle of the club.
And everyone gives me room.
Exactly.
Everyone gives me room.
Oh, that's fantastic. So what's the second clip?
The second one is a trailer. Again, I did for this movie. It's a pitch for this movie that was that's out of production now. That's already been shown. It's called Forever's End. It was, as I said before, a pitch trailer to actually get funding for the movie. So that's what we're about to see now.
Fantastic. Let's check it out.
When morning becomes shadow, I remember you.
Girls!
When day becomes night, I remember you. When hope becomes fear, I remember you. When all I had was lost, I remembered you. I remember you. I remember you.
Oh, man. Why do you do this, man?
Because I love it. I absolutely love it.
What is it that you love about it?
The creativity behind it, giving the talents that I've been blessed to show my creativeness on it. And say, I've been a creative ever since I can remember. How does this work? How can I make this work better than what it is? I said, okay, this is what is given. And said, okay, I can do this to enhance it even more.
Right. And it's interesting too, because I've always referred to you as the Steadicam man. I mean, this is Steadicam Cincinnati, but you're also a director of photography.
Yes.
Wow, excellent. So, what do you love about that?
Being a DP and director of photography, it's more I have the complete control over how the image is going to look. The director tells me, then I translate that and said, okay, if it's going to be this, we should have it look like this. One of my favorites is not even the shooting aspect of it, is the lighting.
Really?
Lighting, painting with light. And it's like, it's just, I take more joy in painting the scene, lighting the scene, than I do actually shooting. Because for myself, shooting is the easy part. Setting the scene up visually with light or absence of light enhances the story even more.
What DPs do you like?
Bill Dill, Dion BB, Deke, Roger Deakins, one of my favorites.
Deke, That's fantastic, man. Well, let's look a little bit more of some of your work. What's this last clip?
Last clip is
kind of a montage.
Yeah, it's a montage of feature I DP'd also and Steadicam'd on it, and the last is my actual Steadicam reel.
So this is what you send out to clients?
Yes.
Or when clients inquire, this is what they get to see to evaluate, so how are we going to work with this guy?
Right.
Fantastic. Well, let's check it out.
All right.
You know, Mike, you're a smart guy. You need to ask yourself, is this worth it? You mind if I ask you a personal question?
Not at all.
Do you love your wife?
Of course I do. Of course I do. Don't do this. You're better than this. All we need is time.
Time? There is no more time.
Love Steadicams. Oh, so looks so cool.
A buzzer took a monkey for a ride in the air. The monkey thought that everything was on the square. The buzzer tried to throw the monkey off his back, but the monkey grabbed his neck and said, "Now listen, Jack. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. Ain't no use in diving. What's the use of jiving? Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top." The buzzer told the monkey, "You are choking me. Release your hook and I will set you free." The monkey looked the buzzer right dead in the eye and said, "Your story's so touching, but it sounds just like a lie. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top." Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. Fly right.
That's fantastic, man. Now, if people want to get in contact with you so they can take advantage of this amazing resource, what's the best way? Google?
Google, yeah. In the process of getting a website together, just getting all the footage and equipment, not equipment, but footage that I have.
Right.
But the easiest way is Nikk Sutton, Steadicam, Cincinnati.
Okay, and just Google that, and it takes you right to everything you need.
Yes.
What do you want to say to anybody out there, Nick, who has a dream and might be afraid of pursuing it or is thinking about pursuing it? What would you tell them?
Never give up. It's like if it's your passion and if you love it, and no matter what anyone tells you, just keep going, keep going, keep going. And keep the good fight, because if you're passionate enough for it, you'll never fail.
I agree totally. Thanks for coming on, man.
No problem.
Fantastic. John Woo said that the camera is a dancer and I'm the choreographer. Well, here's hoping you create your own movement by looking through your viewfinder. Cut.